Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're here, it means you're either learning English or thinking about learning English. Either way, you're in the right place. Today, I want to share with you my personal journey of learning English, how I went from struggling with basic words to confidently expressing myself in English. Trust me, my journey was full of ups and downs, moments of frustration, and times when I felt like I'd never improve. But guess what? I made it, and so can you. So grab your favorite snack, get comfortable, and let's dive into my English learning adventure. My English learning journey began in my preparatory class at school. Back then, I was both excited and a little nervous about learning a completely new language. I knew that mastering English would open countless opportunities for me, so I was determined to give it my all. At first, my main focus was on grammar. I believed that a strong foundation in grammar would help me construct sentences correctly and express my thoughts clearly. But let's be honest, grammar rules can sometimes feel like a never-ending maze. To make it easier and more fun, I turned to YouTube. I watched countless videos explaining different grammar points with real-life examples. But I didn't just watch passively. I took notes, rewound the videos when necessary, and practiced what I learned immediately. One trick that really helped me: I tried to explain the grammar rules to an imaginary student. It sounds funny, but when you can teach something, that means you truly understand it. I even recorded myself explaining concepts and then listened to my own explanations. Over time, I noticed that my understanding of English grammar became stronger, and I felt more confident in using different sentence structures. I also found that learning grammar through stories and real-life examples helped a lot. Instead of memorizing dry rules, I looked for grammar in books, movies, and conversations. Seeing grammar in context made it much easier to remember and use correctly. Once I had a solid grasp of grammar, I moved on to reading. And let me tell you, this step was a game changer. I read hundreds of texts, starting with graded readers and gradually moving to more complex materials like news articles, short stories, and even full-length novels. But here's the secret. I didn't just read passively. Every time I read something, I imagined I was the author of the text. I tried to feel the emotions behind the words and the flow of the sentences. I even acted out dialogues from books, pretending I was in a dramatic movie scene. Sounds a little crazy, right? But it worked. Another method that worked wonders: reading aloud. When I read aloud, I wasn't just improving my reading skills. I was also training my pronunciation and fluency. It felt awkward at first, but the more I did it, the more natural it became. Before I knew it, I was reading faster and understanding things better. I also kept a vocabulary notebook where I wrote down new words and phrases from my reading. But I didn't just write them, I used them in my own sentences, wrote short stories with them, and even created flashcards to review them regularly. This way, I was actively engaging with new words instead of just seeing them once and forgetting them. Now, let's talk about listening skills, something many English learners struggle with. When I first started listening to English, I barely understood anything. It felt like native speakers were speaking at lightning speed, but instead of giving up, I came up with a fun strategy. I became a parrot. What do I mean? I started following English-speaking YouTubers, podcasters, and even stand-up comedians. Every time they spoke, I paused the video and repeated after them, mimicking their words, their tone, and even their accent as closely as possible. At first, it felt awkward, but soon I realized my pronunciation was improving drastically. By copying native speakers, I not only improved my listening comprehension, but also trained my mouth and tongue to produce English sounds naturally. One day, I caught myself thinking in English without even trying. That's when I knew this method was working. Another thing that helped? Watching movies and TV shows with subtitles. At first, I watched with English subtitles to help me catch words and phrases, but over time, I challenged myself to watch without subtitles. I also listened to English songs and tried to write down the lyrics before checking them. It was both fun and a great listening practice. Finally, let's talk about speaking, which, believe it or not, I improved through writing. Yes, writing. Writing is like training wheels for speaking. Every day, I challenge myself to write short paragraphs, dialogues, or even full stories in English. I didn't just write about boring topics, I wrote about things I loved. From my favorite movies to funny life experiences, I turned writing into a fun activity rather than a chore. And here's a little trick that worked for me. I wrote as if I were talking to a friend. This helped me use natural conversational English instead of robotic textbook phrases. Eventually, the more I wrote, the easier it became to express myself in spoken English. It was like training my brain to process English thoughts faster and more naturally. Another fun way I practice speaking, talking to myself. Sounds weird, right? But it worked. I would describe my day, explain my plans, or even argue with myself. It helped me gain confidence and get comfortable forming sentences on the spot. To push myself even further, I also recorded my own voice while speaking. Listening back to my recordings helped me identify pronunciation mistakes and areas where I needed improvement. It was a bit embarrassing at first, but it was one of the best ways to track my progress. So that's how I learned English. It wasn't a one-day process, and there were times I felt frustrated, but I never gave up. The key is to stay consistent, enjoy the process, and never be afraid to make mistakes. Remember, every mistake you make is a step forward in your learning journey. You might face challenges, moments when you feel like you're not improving, or when progress seems slow. That's completely normal. The important thing is to keep going, no matter how small the progress may seem. One of the best pieces of advice I can give you is to embrace the journey, not just the destinations. Learning a language is not just about reaching fluency, it's about growing, exploring new cultures, and opening doors to new opportunities. Every time you learn a new word, phrase, or concept, you're expanding your world. Celebrate the little victories along the way. Another tip, surround yourself with English. Don't just study it in textbooks or in formal settings. Listen to music, watch TV shows, read articles, talk to people, and most importantly, make English a part of your daily life. The more you immerse yourself in the language, the more natural it will become. Be patient with yourself. Language learning takes time, and it's okay to feel frustrated or discouraged at times. But trust me, it will pay off. Keep practicing, stay curious, and don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Speak even if you're not perfect. You'll get better, and you'll do great things with the skills you're developing. If you're currently learning English, I'd love to hear about your journey. Drop a comment below and share your experience. What methods have worked for you? What challenges have you faced? And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of my future videos.